Welcome back. Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy. And before I get started, I'd like to say thanks to my buddy Brian at Slicey Dicey channel for sending this knife over for review. Big thumbs up to him. And also, if you're in the market of buying this knife, check out Mr. Dave Warren. He's the U.S. distributor for Tuya knives. So, like I said, this is a Tuya knife. This is the T1703 Thorax. Comes in at $155. And let's go over some quick specs. Just get that out of the way. You have a blade length of 3 3/4 inches, cutting edge of 3 5/8 inches. You have a total length of 8 3/4 inches, so this is definitely a full-size knife. You got a handle scales of 4 1/2 inches, grip area of 4 1/8. You have 3.788 millimeter blade, so definitely some beefy stock. You have nicely thinly ground flat grind that comes in at 20 thousandths behind the thinnest portion of the edge, so this is a nice slicer. The total thickness, including these milling things, comes in at 0.53, so a little bit over average. And the height at the highest portion is 1.22 inches, and this guy comes in at 4 1/2 ounces. For this size of knife, I think that is excellent. They did so real quick, let me show you, by adding those milling pockets to reduce weight. Very nicely done. And also they kept the balance point right there, perfect in that choil, so it feels a lot lighter in hand than it actually is. Anybody who's followed my channel a lot knows that I love clip point Bowie upswept blades, and this is definitely a classic clip point. It is finished with a nice satin, high satin polish on there. You have your Tuya Knives logo on this side, and on this side you have Tuya Knife 1703 first production. This is number 86 of 100. I think they do theirs in batches of 100, and it's rocking CPM S35 VN steel. Great steel, good choice. While we have it right here, let's look. They executed that sharpening choil absolutely perfect. That's a huge win in my book, especially when you're going to go back and sharpen this guy. Everything should be consistent and even. They have a nice top swedge that goes a little bit over half of the knife up here for some added aesthetics. You have 4 little jumps right here. Not a whole lot, but when you bear down on there, you get medium traction, so not bad. It's definitely functional. Let's close this guy up. You have jimping on the flipper tab, so you can get a nice light switch action. And if you wanted to, you could do a push button. For me, the light switch is definitely more comfortable and more reliable. And as you can see, it has that super smooth action. Tuya does a great job of tuning their detents, and they're riding on ceramic bearings, ceramic detent ball. So that also helps improve this action as good as it is. It is a drop shut knife, couple little shakes, and it'll drop free. I don't think Brian has done anything to this one yet before he sent it to me, so this is still breaking in, and I'm sure with a nice clean down and fresh lube, it would probably be a free dropper, no problem. Let's see, let's close it back up. As you can see, they've done some nice chamfering all the way around the knife, so you don't have any sharp edges at all besides the cutting edge. I like to see they did this nice raised pattern right here with these milled lines. This gives just enough texture, and it adds, to me, it adds a little bit more thickness for when your hands are grabbing, so you get a nice solid purchase. The ergos in this grip are really nice and comfortable. Hammer grip is extremely comfortable. This is okay. I feel that pocket clip a little bit. You can get this grip, my favorite grip, comfortable. And the reverse grip that I never use is great because of this right here. Got a perfect spot for your thumb to land on. Nicely done. Also, you look, you have a nice blue anodized titanium pivot collar. Just gives it that, you know, touch of color, because this is in Brian's spec, and if anybody doesn't know what that means, Brian likes his knives monochrome. Just, he doesn't like any flashiness to it. Then you turn it over, you got a titanium backspacer, anode in blue. All the blue matches with each other, so they did a good job on that. You have a geared pattern here. You have a hole for adding some paracord or your lanyard of choice if you do that. You got a 3D milled pocket clip. I like how they got the chamfers on there. There's no real sharp edges. The pocket clip has nice retention. It goes in and out of the pocket really nice. Let's see what it looks like in my simulated pocket. Let's see if I can get it in there. I don't want to hear any jokes in the comment section. So there you go. Good bit of the knife sticking up, but it definitely gives you enough to be able to pull that knife out of the pocket. We'll talk about that later on. And in your slanted pockets, you have a little bit more sticking out of the pocket, but easy access in and out of the pocket. I already talked about they do have lightning holes in the inside of here to reduce weight and to balance the knife. They do this very well, along with Bestech does a great job of doing that as well to keep the knife balanced and light at the same time. It's got a nice little cutout right here to easily get to that lock bar, and being that you have a thick lock bar as it is, they did a great job of putting chamfer on here. So this thing is super easy to get to the lock, and it's very, very comfortable. I could sit there all day and not feel that lock bar at all. And that, to me, that's a big deal, because, you know, my hands are already beat to shit, and whenever companies do this, sometimes they do this with a thin lock bar, and then this ends up being a sharp portion right here. Kind of defeats the purpose. So I like the way they did it. They didn't go too deep with it, just enough to be able to put your thumb right there, and perfect disengagement every single time. So that's all the stuff I love about this knife. Let's get some size comparisons real quick, and then I will talk about a few of the complaints I have on this knife. Nothing that hurts the functionality of this knife, but Brian showed this in his video, and I think he nailed it with this. To me, it does look like a modern day Buck 110, just to give you that size reference. And the looks, you both have that classic drop point, clip point. Beautiful, beautiful design. Another one that I think it's in close competition with is Bestech knives, and this is the Bestech Starfighter. It has also a classic blade shape. Not so much, this is more of a drop point, but they have some similarities as well. Another in direct competition would be your Kaiser knives, and this is the Kaiser SLT. For size reference, these two are pretty close in size. The Tuya has a little bit more in blade than the SLT. Oh, leave that one there. One that most people know or held or seen, the Ontario Rat Model 1, and those two are almost identical in size. So if you have the Rat Model 1, you have an idea of how big the Tuya Thorax is. Another competition would be Wee Knives, which they produce this for mass drop, the Ferrum Forge Crux. So as you can see, it towers over the Crux. One more last one, just because I have it right here, is the Spyderco Lightweight Manix 2. So there you go. It's a good bit bigger than the Manix 2. So let's talk about a few things that I would have liked to see different or change. Like I said, it doesn't hurt the functionality of this blade whatsoever, but the first glaring one was how much sticks up out of the pocket clip, from the pocket clip. I know y'all seen it in my simulated pocket, that much sticking out, and that's a lot. That's something that really, I don't know, it just bugs me. And while we're talking about the pocket clip, I noticed in certain pants, being that you do have a good bit of retention on here, it does hold it nicely, but as you can see, this pocket's sitting on these milled lines. I did notice it getting kind of stuck to my pants pockets, and I could see it being a shredder, but I would have to carry this long term to know that. Another thing that I don't think it's a huge deal, but the billboarding, I could have definitely went without any of this on here. It would have been nice just to have the blade steel and the and the logo. They could keep this stuff on the boxes, kind of like we talked about with Best Tech. Something I would like to see them do as well here. Let's see, something that I think that would have took this knife to the next level, and I would have bought 2 of them, is, as you can see, you got this nice wedging on the clip point, and I think that, and they could have kept this. I would have loved to see the same swedging up here. It would have gave it that Lanny's clip point look, and that is my favorite clip point design. See, I think that would have just set this one off, to have that same sort of swedge or something, just a swedge up there, would have gave it that beautiful extra added attention to detail. And it's not a make or break, but it's just something that aesthetically I think would have been super pleasing. I am glad to see they did put a swedge right there though. They did a nice job. I just think it would have really completed it to add a swedge here, maybe bring this swedge back some. And Dave Warren himself commented on my Instagram post when I talked about that, and he said he thinks that would look cool as well. So, that'd be great to see him do something like that, because you don't see a whole lot of well done clip point designs. You know, ever since the Buck 110, you got a lot that try to replicate, but not a lot of them duplicate. So, I'd love to see that. Y'all let me know what y'all think. You think a swedge up here in the clip would have gave it a nice, classier look? I mean, it's a beautiful knife as is. It definitely doesn't have to have that, but I think it would have been nice. Also, I didn't talk about it. It does have a landing pad that's done very nicely for whenever you flip the knife. And the last complaint, and this is probably something only I would complain about, is the flipper tab. I would have loved to see, like, you know, it's a good light switch action, but as you see how this comes up right there and you have a jump right there, at the end, and it is not super sharp. It does grab your finger. I would have liked to see this canted back a little bit, because it already grips your finger great, and I just think it would have been a little bit more comfortable. It's not, like I said, it probably won't aggravate 99% of y'all, but you know, due to my circumstances, think if it would have been canted back a little bit and made this a little bit flat, so you could have had an easier push button if you like that. And then the light switch would have been even that much easier. But like I said, none of that's hurting the functionality of this knife. I think Tuya Knives is definitely a company that y'all need to keep your eyes on. They're doing great things. They're definitely competing with your companies like Kaiser, Best Tech, you know, all them same companies in the overseas market. They're all, you know, highly competitive, and Tuya is definitely one to watch out for. At $155, I definitely recommend this knife. I think they did everything great. The QC on it is, from everything that I can tell, awesome. It's a nice slicer. They did a good job of keeping it decently thin behind, well, nice and thin behind the edge. And even though it's a saber grind, it's about 3/4 of the way up. And that swedge, you know, you're thinning out the material. So awesome. Can't wait to see more stuff coming out of Tuya. I have another Tuya knife. Here, I'll show y'all real quick, that I will be reviewing here soon. Just been very impressed with them. This is a Tuya S&S. Be looking for this one here soon. It looks like they already kind of fixed some of the billboarding. They just have the name of the knife here. That's awesome to see. Be looking for this review coming soon. This is the Tuya Thorax knife. If you like my videos, please give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, and then while you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you don't miss a thing. I do videos at least 2 a week, if not more, and I'm creeping up on the 2,000 subscriber marker, and when I do, I plan on trying to do a very cool giveaway with some nice prizes, maybe some custom done from, like, custom jobs that I've done. I may do that. Let me know if y'all would be interested in stuff like that. Maybe a knife with some custom scales on it, or a knife with a nice copper wash or acid wash finish and some custom scales. Those are all just some of the options. I'd love to hear y'all feedback. Let me know what y'all think about this Tuya knife. If you have any Tuya knives, let me know your experience, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.